Countdown. I liked how that said countdown at the end. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live Q&A, the audio team. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. And if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's where we take about an hour out of the close to the end of our week, invite a bunch of CIG developers on the show, and ask them questions. On today's format, we ask them questions entirely supplied by you, the Star Citizen player. We put a thread up on Spectrum, and you guys submitted your questions, and then these guys spent the last 36 hours pouring through the questions and asking themselves what you were trying to ask us and figuring it out and everything. We got to here. We have a bunch of first-timers on the show today, so we're going to take a few minutes and introduce them to everybody before we get into the nitty-gritty. Starting with our esteemed audio director, Simon, tell everybody who you are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Simon. I'm the audio director. I'm responsible for all the audio in Star Citizen and all the department. And I have a few members with me today. If I pass on to our next member.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tristan. I'm a sound designer, Star Citizen. Started in QA 7 years ago. Worked my way up, and yeah, here I am, sound designer.
Quite a few people start in QA, though. It's like that. If this were baseball, that's like the minor leagues for everything. It's like there are people. We've had lead producers. We've had C-suite executives that all started in QA at some point. So it's a good place to start.
Yeah,
you'll learn how things actually
do. Yeah, that's true.
Josh.
Yeah, my name's Josh. I'm a sound designer for Star Citizen, specifically for vehicles in Star Citizen. I didn't start in QA, so.
So you're not as good as Tristan is.
No. If I need any tips, Tristan's the man to go to.
Okay. And Jan.
Yes, my name is Jan. I'm also one of the vehicle audio designers. I'm one of the 5 with the other 2 guys here. I joined about 6 months ago, so I'm fairly new here. And yeah, Star Citizen vehicles.
Okay. And who is Milanesa?
Milanesa is my cat. He's like 5 years old now.
Okay. Is he one cat or a collection of cats?
Just one cat with many faces.
Right. And you have your own hoodie.
Yeah, my wife made it for me. Yeah.
Shout out to Milanesa. All right, so we have, like I said at the beginning of the show, which wasn't that long ago, the team here poured through your questions and pulled out roughly the 30 that they can address today. We are going to jump right into it because we have a lot to talk about. A focus on today's show, audio is a wide and all-encompassing a discipline that touches every single aspect of the game. And while we may veer from this from time to time, most of our focus on today's show will be ships and ship audio, since that's where a lot of the most exciting new deliveries and new procedures are going now. So we'll start with a rather simple one from Really Tiny Rick. Don't usually read the names out. And I said we weren't going to read the names out. But sorry, Really Tiny Rick. When making a new ship, how do you identify what that ship should sound like? Nice top level kind of introductory question.
It's a simple question, but it's got a lot of complicated answers to it. So it depends on the manufacturer, the size of the vehicle, the form, the shape, the materials it's been built with, and also the thrusters. And then how fast it's going to go, what's its requirement within the game, what it's going to do. That's an overview, and the most important thing is any sounds we give it, we want it to actually feel like it's actually coming from that, the incredible design of the ship. So that's the kind of headline, and if we sort of dig into that further.
Yeah, I can add to that. Generally, the process is we'll generally have a team-wide kickoff, which will involve other departments. Usually, we'll get a little summary, like maybe a few sentences on what the ship's all about, and we'll usually take that, do a little more digging, have a look at the ship. What manufacturer is it? Is it Drake? Is it a little bit more run down? Is it Origin? Super high tech? Then we'll gather our own references from popular media, discuss it amongst ourselves, get a kick-off from Simon, and then that usually gives us a pretty good start and where I want to go with it.
Yeah, Simon comes in and makes some silly noises.
Yeah.
Some direction. This is what it should
I
sound
mean,
like.
we'll look at all contemporary vehicles, real ones, and kind of fantasy ones, and then we'll all get together. I will generally make a lot of noises with my mouth, or I'll get very excited about maybe a dragster I might have seen online, or we might draw from any number of sound ideas that we've heard or experienced that we might want to bring to the ship. Given that we want to give, recently we've been giving each ship a unique identity. So it's got its own signature, if you like, and you can identify it. So rather than just digging from a pool of sounds and just throwing those in, each ship needs its own kind of considerations. I mean, the design of them is beautiful, and we want to reflect all of the time gone into the design with the sound design. And we could draw our sources from any number of things. The ideal scenario is that we create the sounds ourselves. Now, we'll dig into this further, obviously, but realistically, we don't have jet engines at our kind of, we don't have a jet engine parked outside that we can go and record. So we've got to come up with interesting possibilities. And out of that, we may record very unusual objects in different ways in order to get them into the game, into the vehicle.
I want to follow up on something you touched on there. You said lately or recently you want to give each ship a unique signature.
Yeah.
In the past, and I don't want to throw the work of the previous audio team into the bus or anything, but in the past there was a more kind of systemic kind of generic approach to this stuff, and now it seems like you guys are really pushing to doing what you just said, to give each ship kind of a signature.
Yes.
What prompted that kind of philosophical change?
Well, initially when I came, I thought, okay, this is a marketable object. When I buy a vehicle, a car or something, I want to feel the weight of it. I want to feel the beauty of it. I want to hear it. I want to listen to stuff. And the most important thing for me, it's a spaceship game intrinsically, initially, and then the most important thing for me is to increase the size of the department. So we've got 6 people. Keep talking. So we've got 6 people actually to create the sounds, and that means we can give it much more bespoke sounds than they had previously before I came. And the guys are very aware of the intent that I want to kind of project for the vehicles, and maybe I'm hogging too much of the time.
Don't pass to me.
I can kind of like go back on the audio direction kickoff that we do like in the early stages during the pre-production, because that's something I feel like oftentimes is not talked about enough or is not given enough credit, because Simon comes in these meetings and he usually has these like really wild ideas, and he comes up with these like really specific keywords for us to go on with. He makes some like actual verbal sound effects, and these are like super valuable. It's actually kind of fun to do, like we have a good time doing it, but also his ideas that he brings like from his years of experience, obviously, they give us a lot of like starting points to like build our ideas from. And every ship that he sees on screen, like we show him, this is the new ship we need to work on. And he comes up with like a bunch of really different ideas from all the past ships, and that's like a very good inspiration point to start from.
As a follow-up to this, Exit Wounds asks, we're doing names on this one, I've just decided. I told them we're not doing names, we never do names, I'm doing names. We've seen a lot of the ships get more distinct startup sounds and thrust sounds, like the Perseus, which sounds great. Will these roll out to the older ships?
Yes, they will. Because now, how many vehicles do you think we've kind of increased the sort of value of the about 10. So basically, we've got 10 we've started with, and there are hundreds to do. Yes, of course, we're going to be doing that. How we fit them into the schedule, I can't promise when that's going to be happening. But that's the intent, because the better the recent ships get, the more the divide is from the previous ships, that we want to update everything. I know there's so much more value we need to give the whole experience. You know, I want it to be a great sound experience, always a meaningful experience when you fly. You know, you want to. I can't wait to get my vehicle to fly because it's going to give me vibration. It's going to give me movement. I'm going to feel like I'm moving.
The startup sound is particularly important as well because
what?
The startup sound is particularly
Yeah.
important as well because it's your first kind of introduction to how the vehicle sounds and thus how it feels. And it was always quite an enjoying thing to watch YouTube videos where they get into the ship and then they start it up and then the reactions that they have to it, and it's just like, you know what kind of ship you're flying when you turn those engines on, and that was always kind of the approach with it.
We've had a couple offline conversations about this. There's this thing. I was gonna ask. Well, let me ask the question before I go to what I'm saying. How important is audio in?
It's okay. There's a classic answer. It's 50% of a game or the film, but actually it's a little bit more. But I mean, if I can just give a very brief thing. So your field of vision is, I don't know, it's about 120 degrees what you can see, and then you've got 50% and 70% you can actually visually see. But we've actually got to provide 360 degrees of the sound. So actually the stuff you can't see, we need to provide as well. And also an experience is much more fulfilling when you've got, I'm going to use the word immersive and people will laugh at me, when you've got an enveloping spatial audio experience, an immersive experience that we can offer you sonically, where you can feel not only what you see in front of you within the field of view, but you actually get the suggestion of stuff that's going on behind you, like the rockets kicking you and pushing you through the universe, the turn and the vibrations and the whole experience, not only in spaceships, to the greatest extent throughout the whole universe that we're going to occupy, in every sonic experience and every visual experience we travel through. We're there to support that.
That's a good answer. When I was referencing online is, you've heard me say several times that I have this dream of this show. We haven't gotten to do it yet. This isn't going to be the show. But I want to do this long form kind of thing. I have this firm belief that we got all of these amazing 3D artists, all these amazing the 2D artists, the 3D artists, the VFX artists, all of this stuff, and they create a wonderful canvas, but nothing comes to life until you hear it. It's for me, the audio is that moment where a thing goes from being a work of art to a living, breathing thing, whether that's a spaceship or a character or a creature or whatnot. And so when you say it's 50-50, it's like it's certainly there. But yes, I think it actually it's just art. Not that art's not great.
Yeah, I mean, it's the language we're providing for the design. I mean, the design, theoretically, things can exist without sound because the design gives you, a real perspective and dimension. But we can add the weight and value to the experience.
I've always kind of thought as well the visuals kind of build the world, but the sound puts you in it.
Yep.
It's kind of how I experienced it.
So to follow up on that, we've got all this work to create these signature sounds and whatever. We discussed how important the sound is, whatnot. But as Ephemeral Soul asks, why do the sounds of other ships you hear while inside your own ship all seem to sound the same across the board? You do all this work, and then when you're trying to listen to the outside world while in your ship, it all seems to be kind of generic. What's happening there?
That's placeholder, right? I think that stemmed from our old ship system breaking, and it created a game-breaking bug. So we took that opportunity to move on to the new ship system, and basically we had to just put placeholder on for all the other ships. Otherwise, I mean, it's better to have something than nothing on, like, sound-wise. So that is something we are going to address. Like, we will.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
get to that.
So it was kind of it was a temporary fix to a game-breaking issue, and instead of reverting back to what we had before, we took the opportunity to work on a new system that brings back the older flyby, or something like the older flybys, which people have been asking for so long. hopefully an improved version of that. And that is something that we are actively working on at the moment.
Well, we've already done some
Yeah.
already, and they're going in, so
It's close.
they're going in. I mean, every not failing or disappointment for the community of the audio that they identify, we don't ignore it. We're going to address it, but the targeted way we're going to change it has to be mannered and has to be in line with the studio and actually in line with the actual systems that we have to kind of implement them. We can't just drop tools, and yes, of course we want to do that, but it's not a case of just finding a sound effect. Oh, that should do it. It has to be considered, and there's a lot to consider, because not only we're going to elevate the actual spatial audio as we go, in the future towards VR and actually things that we're actually going to physically be able to touch and things like that. We've got to build for the future rather than just band-aid everything and say, well, that'd be fine. We do get round to it, and we are getting around to it, and everything is being addressed and approached.
Yeah.
But it can't be just done. I know this is probably going to be almost feel like a stock answer. It can't be done now, but things like, we want to do that. We do want to do that, and we are doing stuff. We are doing stuff now that isn't available yet. Is not necessarily going to be available for any of the future releases, but there's stuff going on in the background because we've got no time to lose. I've got no time to lose, and we're growing the department, and we have grown the department in order to change the audio.
Well, I think everybody can already see the impact that you've had on the since you've been here. So yeah, just can't always work on everything at all the same time, stuff like that.
But I would say this topic is probably like the biggest open wound for us, because it's something that pops up a lot, and we also experience it when we test our sounds and etc. So we work really hard on the ship, like the individual ship sounds that the players will experience when they play it. But that aspect is a really big part of it. So like Simon said, it won't be like a band-aid type of solution. Like we want to make sure we're doing a really thorough system that will elevate the player's experience.
Do all this work.
They wanna hear an Idris or Perseus passing by from like really far away, and we want them to identify. Oh, okay, that I know which ship is that just by hearing it. Like this is basically what we want to achieve.
And when it passes over you, you want to feel it. Right?
You want to feel it, yeah, of course.
So we're talking about this right now, and there's always a question about the realistic audio system. So we're talking about being able to hear sounds from one ship to the next ship and whatever, but then there's inevitably, somebody's in chat's doing it, I didn't see it, but I know it's there. Somebody in chat's like, you're not supposed to hear anything in space.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, is that an
Our
okay
job's
word
done
to
then.
say?
What, that we can't hear anything in space?
No, the British word I used.
What did you use? What was the word you used?
Is that a bad word?
Did you swear? I've been trying so hard not to swear. Did you slip a swear word
I
in
used a
quickly?
British word that's not a swear to me, but only because I don't actually know what it means. I associated it with a dummy. I don't know.
Yeah, so the real audio and the real kind of the physics of audio in space, the physics with atmosphere with atmosphere. Well, kind of rule of cool sometimes. I mean, if we've got something we want to make a sound, then I want it to make a sound. Now, we can't just provide a roll-up. We can't just have the bass frequencies or the low pass just kicking in. We've got we've got to feel vibration through our space suit and then through our helmet.
Yeah.
We've got to consider how vibration works and how we achieve the real audio. Because yes, you can't hear anything in space, but as soon as you start touching stuff, you'll get resonance through your suit and then through your helmet. And that's not just a case of creating a sound and then just rolling off the treble or the high frequencies. We've got to, it's a bit more complicated than that. Now, I'm sure some people want real audio and some people don't want real audio. I'm not sure what the right answer is for that, but if we're giving an audio, yeah, go on.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I think we really want to build a great cinematic experience first, because we're going to have cinematic sounds anyway in atmosphere. So if we can build on that foundation, then we can move on and do the realistic stuff at a later date once we've got the cinematic stuff in order, basically.
Yeah.
Build from that.
I think there's areas of the game that will we'll approach that will obviously give the feeling of more realism, like the difference between atmospheric flight and space flight, and that kind of juxtaposition between the two makes you, it's like an artistic interpretation of no sound in space.
Yeah.
But as Tristan said, we've got a lot of work to do on regular mode first.
Yeah, it's always hard. Star Citizen it's a struggle that doesn't just affect audio. It's everything. This bring it to the point of realism, then bring it back to the point of fun is something that we've had to we've had for a long time. This is actually bring it to the point of fun and cool, and then let's look at realism after that. And I think there have to be certain places where that's okay. It's a video game. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be immersive. Like you said, cinematic. I mean, anybody that's spent 5 minutes with Chris knows, how important anything being cinematic is to the guy and stuff. So you're never going to be. There's always going to be the one person. I saw it. I called for it, and there were several people in chat. There's not any sound in space.
There's what in space? No sausages in space. Sound, sorry. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be rule of cool. We're not going to please everyone all the time. And, but we don't want the game to be like a physics lecture. We want it's fun.
I think some people do, though. I think some people honestly want the game to be a physics lecture. And it's just...
Well,
it's certainly a thing.
Well, maybe in the future we can provide for that.
I don't want to... It's not my place. It's not my place to judge.
We've discussed it a lot about the no sound in space stuff and the realistic mode.
But ultimately, we designed the sound in full, and we may shelve that that sonic experience until we know how we're going to address that properly.
So now a question that does take it closer to realism. What about damage effects? Because right now the next question from Hybrid V, talks about, hey, my fully damaged ship sounds just the same as my undamaged ship right now. So what do we do about that? Because that seems like you can have your rule of cool, but like I said, it's that balance. You want your ship to sound differently when it's really messed up. So what are we doing there?
This is something that has been discussed. I was talking to one of our programmers about it because I noticed that VFX have sort of variations on the thrusters based on damage, and I was like, is there a way we can tie into this and have audio kind of reinforce that as well? And I think we discussed at the time that it may be something that would work with the engineering that was recently added into it. It's not something we've fully scoped out yet, but it's definitely something we want to do. It's just where we can fit in, and we need to discuss how we tackle it as well.
Yeah, we need the support there first from code. But we were even talking about it today.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely something that we need to address. Brings a lot more immersion, for sure.
Yep. So, what about atmospheric audio? Our ships? So one would assume that a ship might sound differently in Atmo than it would in space. Even if we accept that there's going to be rule of cool sound in space, should the ship still sound different in Atmo from space?
Well, yeah, that's again. Yes. I mean, it's tying back into the realistic mode stuff. We're going to have to at some point look at atmospheric flight versus space flight. So, I mean, that's what I was saying before. We need to build on the cinematic experience first. So once we've got that cinematic experience, that is the atmospheric flight, and then we will have to look into changing things up for in space.
Yeah,
and also the flyby stuff. We did actually, Josh and I discussed it when we were designing the assets for it. We were looking at flybys in space versus atmosphere, because there's going to be obviously no wind or pressure in space. So we have to. It would sound really weird if we put our atmospheric flybys in space, because you just hear all this wind coming. It just doesn't make sense. So I mean, we're already addressing it, and we will have to address it again in the future going forward.
Tying into that as well, wear and tear of engines and how things break.
You want to be able to hear the engines.
Yeah, we need, over time, we'll want the engine to change, because it's not, for it to make the same sound, and it hasn't had a service, that's going to be a little bit dull. So we've got to think about that as well. And, you know, we're considering that, working out how to do that. So, you know, it's organic and real in that sense as well. The actual changing sound from new to older.
One thing I can add is this is the first time I'm working on a live game, so it's like a different experience for me. Like I'm learning a lot of stuff, and a lot of the
What? Yeah, you do learn a few things. You do learn a few things working on a live service game as opposed to winning.
It's a buzz.
Yeah, it's a buzz. That's a word for it.
Yeah.
like very often it's a balancing act between making sure everything is working, we're getting the new content in, and a lot of these questions are like really fantastic ideas that we are always talking about internally, and we want to make sure they're implemented in the game in the correct way, that so that we don't have to like the way we have these old ships that don't have the current modern version that we are doing, so people find them underwhelming. So if we do a way to implement these new ideas into our new ships, we have to do it in a way that we don't have to do multiple passes for the older ships. We can come up with like more systematic solutions and make sure everything is applying globally. Yeah.
The last question was about atmospheric flight, so I have to, it actually isn't in the list, and I don't know if you guys avoided it or whatnot, but I know it's out there.
Yeah, of
Because I know
course.
that every single time I've done a show on audio, this question has come up without fail. And so I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to just do it now. Sonic booms. probably a
I don't know
question-
how much we can tell.
It's probably a question for Graham.
I have
for myself,
seen
but
I have seen some images of art that include sonic booms. I don't know how much we can tell, but I have seen it, so it could be there. We want it to be there.
Well, you've said that we're going to be sonic booms.
Yeah, I mean, I've sold
So
it now.
if there are
we want it there.
sonic booms, there will be a noise that
Yeah.
goes with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to feed in that, where we're working, we're constantly, as well as doing the work and delivering and releasing stuff, it's constantly, and we're doing R&D all the time. There's never a day when we don't consider what we're going to be recording in terms of props and things that we use to recreate sounds, and also systems that we want to bring in. I mean, we're always animated and motivated in that sense. It's not like, well, here's another spaceship, let's just do this. We want it every day we talk about this, not just in ships, across the department. Everyone's actively thinking how to make the sound experience better.
I think as a
It's
game,
very alive.
as a game that's sort of grounded in realism. I know it's sci-fi and space and set in the future, but it's grounded in realism in many aspects. I think it makes sense that at some point we will have sonic booms. I just don't see a way around it.
Seems we are.
And as I say, I've seen some VFX for
Yeah,
it. I don't know when it'll come, but I've seen it.
Graham talked about it at CitizenCon like 2 or 3 years ago and whatnot. It's just some folks in chat are asking why this sounds like we're thinking about some of these things for the very first time and whatnot. And it's less that we're thinking about these things for the very first time. It's more that, like the project, the way that we do audio for the project has evolved. Evolved. Part of why when we had you on, once you hit 6 months and we try not to put anybody on video the first 6 months. It's a lot to take in. But you were like on 6 months and 3 days before we had you on your first your first show, because I wanted to get you in here. Part of what you've had to do since you joined is kind of reevaluate everything related to how we make audio. And
I mean, the benefit of me coming in fresh means I've made a value judgment and assessment independently of any kind of development issues or the scope of development. Chris, probably knows much more about cinema than I do, and I've worked on hundreds of films, or hundreds of releasable materials, and it's going to be a cinematic game. And that's what I want. I'm going to raise the bar, and we are raising the bar. It's just that's the way we're going to do it. Now, that doesn't mean any of these considerations haven't been talked about before. We are not just suddenly coming to the idea.
it doesn't mean we threw everything away.
Either way, we better do some sound. And to everybody, and it would be unfair of me to suggest that prior to me coming, these considerations weren't active. They were. It's just there has to be
The way in
a
which we go
sensible
about it.
scope for the release of them.
Yep.
And you know, everybody, all the different departments have to work together organically.
Yeah. I think anybody that's followed the project for any tremendous period of time knows that, you know, every year we sort of, take a step back, we evaluate, we reevaluate, and then we see what we need to change and what we need to adjust and what. And I think there's often this misconception that any game studio, I'm going to speak for the whole industry here, is a monolith. That you just set out, you start a project with a plan and you just go with that plan the entire time through your development without ever rethinking, without ever reevaluating, without ever having a new technology coming online that means you can do something in a different way than you thought. Is making a game, especially over the course of a decade more, is a continuous series of reevaluations and reinventions of how you do things and why you do things and where you do things and when you do things and stuff. So I understand why some people are like, why does it sound like, you're thinking about this or everything the first time? It's not. It's just this is the newest and the latest thinking with the newest and the latest plan and procedure.
Yeah, nothing we do is there to upset anybody. And I read the comments constantly, but I can't address how many hundreds came in. We do listen and we don't ignore those things. I'm aware of many of the topics which is not worth talking about now because we can't promise anything on that just yet.
Chawai says, I think about doing stuff all the time. Means nothing if you don't execute. And yeah, thank you for recognizing the amazing work they've been doing on the ship audio for the last year, as they continue to execute the first thing, and then they'll execute the next thing, Yeah, thank you for recognizing that, Chawai.
And I would also say, like, in a project that's been in progress for this long, there's a lot of value in having people that's been on the project for a really long time because they just know the project inside out.
They know where the bodies are buried.
Sorry?
They know where the bodies are buried.
I haven't discovered yet. But there's also a big value in bringing new people in, like me, Josh, Nathan Gibson, Ilyas Malkov are other vehicle audio designers.
And Jack as well.
Yeah, and when we came in, we obviously come in with fresh ideas. There's already systems that were created in the past by previous great sound designers. Some of them were my friends. So there's systems that pre-existed, but over time, like you said, things evolve, change, plans get scrapped.
New ideas.
Sorry?
New ideas.
Yeah, totally. So new things come in, and we come in, we have our own ideas. We want to make sure things are working, but we also want to improve things. And like with these pass-bys and vibration systems, we have a lot of ideas, but it's always a balancing act.
Yeah, I think with the scope of the game as well, it can be quite easy to kind of chase after all these different ideas that kind of pop up and that people want, but we're trying to, as you said, tackle things one at a time. Like we've improved the thruster system, we've choose vibration
Specifically, so we can start delivering after.
Yeah. Well, we've
all the
started
time talking about.
We've started boosting up the vibration system over the last couple of ships, and we're increasing that. We're recording new assets for that, new sounds that we can put into the vibration system, because a very expensive ship is going to rattle and vibrate completely differently to something that is stuck together with rivets, and we're doing that. That's being done.
Didn't explosion sounds come back recently?
They did.
It was just like the last patch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So explosions were broken for a while. And what was that? Was that just a bug fix, or that needs some kind of rework? What happened there?
That was something that I looked into just before Christmas, because it was affecting VFX as well, and it ended up getting fixed upstream. I think it was to do with the change in how we handled death of the ship. At a certain point, it was just like, this is beyond me, but then they did something and fixed it.
We got a couple questions here that seem a little off color. We're going to do it since you picked them and put them in there. having trouble seeing. Which audio team member makes the most verbal sound effect impressions while they work?
He's sitting right with us.
I do.
Simon, but most definitely.
It's not Phil?
Phil does make a lot.
Phil does as well, yeah.
He's the second most, for sure.
Phil's the second worst.
Yeah.
Wow, you came in and unseated Phil right away. Sorry, why is that?
It's a shorthand for providing a sonic reference point. So don't get me to make the sound
Oh, please.
of
A
anything.
leaf blower?
A leaf blower or anything. I might any number of noises. I might do some. I might come back to some of the stuff I've done on films. Predators, aliens, and that kind of stuff. And use the voice is a great sound tool. And it no doubt it's in some of the ships. Perhaps it is, and it's a great indicator of showing the power and showing kind of what you want from a sound, as well as visual reference points as well.
Right.
You can get a lot out of your mouth, and it's to give that kind of that kind of experience, that sonic experience. Shut up.
Simon,
I was laughing at Jared.
Hello.
Jared started that.
Hello,
one.
I'm
I've been
Simon.
so well
You can
behaved.
get a lot out of your mouth.
I haven't wobbled. Haven't sworn.
Speaking of leaf blowers, Josh. No. Okay, I'm just going to read this one. What's the last sound effect someone in the team created that constituted calling everybody over and saying, hey, listen to this?
can you guess?
What was the leaf blower?
Yeah, it was a recording of a leaf blower that I turned into, I think I described it as disgusting. Just through pitch shifting it, adding layers of distortion, saturation, and I was like, this sounds like a really gnarly engine, and made everyone individually come and listen to it, and then didn't end up using it on the ship.
I was going to say, are you ready to you confirm that there's a ship out there that sounds like a leaf blower just pitch shifted?
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't use it?
No, did use Simon's voice in a ship though.
Use Simon's voice in a ship.
Yeah. Simon came in one day and said, I'm going to make you some spaceship sounds with my mouth.
As one does.
I had a spare minute.
Yeah, so he came in, 2 minutes. I didn't have high expectations, but I was pleasantly surprised, and it made it into the Salvation, actually.
But I mean, thank you. But we've done. I mean, talk about the stuff we do with the Foley recordings. To create the kind of the alien ship and all of the organic sounds that we created.
Stinger.
Yeah, from the Stinger.
The bowl of stuff. The bowl of goop and
Yeah.
You had to make a sound for a
shaving
bowl
foam.
of goop?
Well, we went to like toy stores and bought like putty and shaving foam and vegetables and all sorts, and threw it into a bowl, and mashed it up,
And then what'd you
recorded
do
it,
for work?
and then sorry.
And then what'd you do for work?
We actually made working more unpleasant because the room did have a
Yeah.
unpleasant odour afterwards.
No, we used a lot of it
just
on the
game
Stinger
dev.
though.
But we wanted it to sound organic. We wanted it to actually sound like it had some kind of skeletal exoskeleton, and we wanted, rather than just using metal sounds or from other recording sources, we just wanted to give it this kind of visceral feeling of like an animal. So, that comes across. And I mean, there are other things. Some of the comments we got were for the wolf. Was it the wolf? Someone commenting about the seat sound.
The chair.
Yeah.
Sound.
So
What was that?
How was that done, Josh?
We did a bespoke Foley pass on the Wolf because you wanted to make it feel like a luxurious experience.
Yeah.
And every time you just like, it needs to sound like fine leather when you sit down. And we didn't end up using fine leather for the recording, but we did use my rubber green backpack, which just had the right texture to it.
Yeah, but it got a comment. So very simple sound source like Josh's bag became part of the Foley experience of sitting in the chair. So the smallest of insignificant sounds can give you a fantastic experience, and it's not just necessarily the moving parts, the guns, the thrusters. If something like that raises the kind of enjoyment of the game, then we're up for doing that, and because we want to, and we're elevating the richness of the sonic experience.
I was surprised people commented about it actually, because it is quite a subtle element to it, but it does add to the feeling of the ship.
It does.
Especially when it's your introduction to the ship when you sit down.
Yeah.
So when there's a bug for a ship sound, like the like the infinite quantum spooling stuff that's going on right now. Is that a designer who fixes that, or is that that's probably someone on code, right?
Yeah, that would be an audio programming issue. The spooling bug is something that's been looked into, and it is forwarded onto our audio programmers. But unfortunately, the audio programmers are like gold dust, and they have a mountainous backlog to get through. We have recently fixed the bug with salvaging, which...
You have to be more specific than that.
So there is a book. Most of salvaging didn't work. It does now and will be in a subsequent release. But there was also a bug with the fracturing loop just playing endlessly. And that was due to an issue with the code and how the stop event is triggered.
Right.
Without going into too much detail, but essentially it wasn't stopping, which is always the risk with loops, because if the stop trigger doesn't work, it's going to stay there forever.
There's a fair amount of questions in the chat about audio bugs, this audio bug and whatnot, it's design. Bugs are for programmers and engineers. You guys are designers and stuff like that, so it's not really your area. I'm happy you were able to speak to it to some extent, but there's a question that doesn't usually get asked anywhere else, but I always... How frustrating is it to you? You do this work, you create this amazing soundscape or something, and then a bug ruins it. A bug makes this gorgeous sound that would be gorgeous if you could only had to hear it for 3 or 4 seconds, and makes it continuously repeat over and over again to the point now that people begin to hate this sound that you spent so much time, carefully designing. How frustrating is that for you? And
it's hugely frustrating because we put a lot of care into what we want to provide, and that we're getting shout outs for bugs because it ruins the experience for the player, and that's like puncturing a balloon. It's very disheartening, but we need to find a way of fixing it and getting it back on course. And there are a lot of bugs, and we're fixing them as quickly as we can. But I mean, the disappointment is, I don't know. I mean, how can you express the disappointment when you built something and then it slips out from working and not working? It's not deliberate.
I think there's a lot of old bugs that once we introduce our new systems, like the new flight system that we got a couple of months ago, that eliminates a lot of those issues. Not all of them, but it eliminates them. So we just need to, I guess, focus on improving our systems there. So to future-proof those. I mean, there's always going to be bugs, though. I mean, I worked in QA, I know.
I was going to say,
It's impossible.
How many
bugs.
did you come through a day? How many did you fix? I mean, there's a phenomenal amount going through QA, and there's a phenomenal amount that get fixed. Mm-hmm. But, obviously the ones that fall through the net or are repeat offenders, that players, we've got plenty of questions about, any number of things which are ruining the game flow. And of course, we're going to fix those things. It's just when. I can't promise when, and it would be false of me to give a date or to say something. Yeah, we're looking, because pretty hollow words saying we're looking at it. But I mean, I'm sure that's been said a lot. But
we're saying it now.
Of course, we're looking at it because it's not a complete game until those things are flowing better.
Yeah, I won't turn this into a philosophical meditation on the difficulty of game development. But it's just a continual game of whack-a-mole. Yeah. It's because the mistake that often gets made, and this has nothing to do with audio, this has to do with all game bugs, is you think one bug has one cause, and it doesn't. One bug can have 7 causes, and you fix 1, you fix 2, you fix 3, and then you find out the 4th fix actually caused a 9th cause of it that didn't exist prior. And so like this, it's this continual chase. You start to feel a little like Wile E. Coyote, chasing the Roadrunner after a while. You never stop.
Also, game dev is a giant organism where we're not working in a vacuum or we're independent of any of the other departments. It's like lots of termites going around doing their business, and we all have to work together. Yeah. And
you never stop.
And we're live.
You never stop. You never give up. You do one, then the other, and the other. You put things in priority order. like you're saying, you say we got to do this first, we got to do this first, we got to do this first. You get to things in their time, and it's frustrating. It's again, I don't know why I'm suddenly turning this into a meditation on game development as a whole, but I've often said that every frustration that players feel about any game is usually felt by those developers 3 to 6 weeks earlier. And it's like this, it's we wish we could do everything all at once, and we just can't. So it's just this, we stay vigilant, we bring in new people when necessary, we reevaluate process, we continuously try to improve so we can do more and more every year, and you just keep working at it.
I mean, for vehicles, we're bringing out a lot of vehicles all the time. And the most important thing is I want to make sure the vehicles come out better and better each time. And I'm always looking for space in the schedules to change the legacy stuff.
Yeah.
There's plenty of vehicles that need to come up to scratch as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I want, I want the vehicles department to be the one that gets the most attention first, and I want it to be almost like it's a perfect game being hosted by Star Citizen. That because that's what we're about. We're about releasing vehicles that work, that don't need to go back to the garage to be fixed. I want them to go out well and perfect, and then all of these systemic and legacy problems will be fixed the more we escalate the successes.
We got about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
What's more fun for you? This is from Kiloverst. Kiloverst. What's more fun for you? Creating crappy sounds for Drake. Love the Clipper door. It is really nice, by the way. Or clean sounds. Clean, nice sounds, like for Origin or Crusader.
Drake. I think we all agree. It's really fun to make the kind of crappy sounds. I don't want to say crappy, but I don't know. It's just more. It's a lot more fun making creaky doors and things. Also, Origin stuff like that, the high end stuff, is actually really quite difficult to design for. It's like a lot of soft sounds, and when you're using a lot of soft sounds, you can't really convey weight properly for components. So you might have a big door that you just can't really convey properly just because it needs to be high tech.
We've not actually done an Origin.
I was going to say, Josh, how long have you been here?
8 months.
8 months. Okay, so you guys have never worked on an Origin ship. We haven't had an Origin ship since what, 2021?
Long time.
That was that the 400 or the 400i? Was 2021. We do have a new Origin ship this year though. So you guys will get to you have a new Origin ship in the next 3 months. So I'll just say some stuff. So you guys will get your first crack at Origin and getting to revitalize that. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So.
I think you guys agree though, right? I mean, I know Josh does. He likes Drake. Speaking the crappy.
I do like Drake, and then also the Drake plus Shiv.
Oh, the
which is
Shiv.
even
the Gals.
crappier.
No, Grays.
Grays.
Yeah.
Grays.
That one's a fun one to
It's. I usually tell people, if you're a sci-fi fan, you usually fall into one or two categories. Pick your Philip K. Dick. You're either a Minority Report or you're a Blade Runner, kind of thing. Do you like the pristine, gorgeous, perfect future? Or do you like the used? I'm a Blade Runner guy. I like Drake a lot.
Yeah. Same.
But I mean, a really nice Origin ship would be appreciated. And we're gonna get one in a couple months.
How do you know?
What's the weirdest? This is from Mixed Spaz. What is the weirdest thing you use to make a vehicle sound?
I think it's the bowl of stuff again.
Bowl of goop.
The putty and spaghetti and
We went shopping to an actual supermarket and a bunch of toy stores, and we gathered a whole bunch of just weird things that make weird sounds basically, and then we slowly started by recording them individually, and then within half an hour it turned into everything coming together in this goo of soup of beans and lettuce and celery and a bunch of toys, just everything all mashed together, and then we were just making the weirdest possible sounds, and most of them made it into the Stinger's ambience actually. So if you play with the Stinger, and you can hear a different ambience when the ship's system power is off. So it's gonna feel like a little bit the ship is not doing too much, but when you turn on the system power, it'll kind of like come alive, and you'll feel this organism coming to life, and a bunch of the sounds that we made that day is actually in there. Yeah.
I also there's a ship I'm working on at the moment where the sort of thruster, we call it blarf. I don't know if that's an actual...
I'm sorry, what was the word?
Blarf? Like the
Blarf?
sound of this blarf, like laugh.
I haven't heard of it.
I think it's just an internal
Is
statement.
that an internal thing?
Blaf?
I'm pretty sure
It's the sound of thruster fire.
It's called blaf.
I think we just
blarf.
came up with a
Blarf?
stupid audio word for it. Like,
I think Alex told me, and I think maybe he was having a joke with me. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, there's a ship I'm working on at the moment that I wanted to sound particularly dirty. So
Particularly blaffy.
blarfy.
Blarfy, yeah.
So that was entirely made up of leather recordings.
I'm sorry. Right.
I'm making the connections in my head
I'm
as
sorry.
I'm saying it.
You had a ship weapon you wanted to sound particularly bloff, so you used leather.
Yeah.
Not weapon.
No weapon, thrusters.
Thrusters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's better. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Ship thruster that you wanted to sound bloff.
Blarfy.
Bloffy.
Yeah.
Do you guys do ship weapons?
It's handled, well, weapons are separate from ships, so they're actually handled.
Joe Cooper
By
does
Joe
our
Cooper,
weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And he's revamping the system, actually.
Yes, he is. He is, indeed.
So he's coming up with a new system for weapons, so they have better impact and more presence, more punch and more kick.
Yeah, you notice a lot of the new weapons sound a lot better. Like the Alpha Wolf
Alpha Wolf
weapons are particularly nice. But we're aware that some of them sound a little on the muted side. But it's
That's probably because we're undoing the system. It's like taking the wallpaper off a room before you re-wallpaper, isn't it? It's going to sound. So there's going to be a dip in quality before it gets. Did you like that one? Wallpaper one. It's going to get better, but it's gone quieter first, and then he's going to increase the experience of the weapon significantly, which is quite exciting.
On the topic of weird things, though, that go into our sounds, we do have a ritual where we put animal sounds in the toilets. So if there's ever a toilet extend, when you pull the toilets out, when you interact with the toilet and it comes up,
Yeah.
there's always an animal in it. So I can't remember what ship I did it on, but there's a gorilla in the toilet. I can't remember the one that you told me before.
I'd have you sectioned if you said that to me at a bus stop.
There's a gorilla in the toilet.
That would be a good album name for it.
So yeah, there's that. We like to do silly things like that. I mean, it's all processed. You wouldn't be able to tell it's a gorilla,
put a
but there's
goose
one.
in a door. But I thought it was the door that we had to do it on, not the actual toilet, which I only learnt
I
today.
think it's just any part of the toilet, I guess.
Just any part of the toilet. Stick a gorilla in there. Hey, who hasn't stuck a gorilla in a toilet?
Yeah.
What are the audio team's favorites when it comes to sound design? Oh, I guess your favorite ship, I suppose.
I think everyone liked the Wolf, right? I think that was Josh who did the thrusters for that.
I'm not allowed to say that.
I think, engine-wise, I think that was everyone liked that. I think he set the bar. Thanks, Josh, for making us work harder. No, but Josh did a really good job on that. It was really good.
I think for me, for different reasons, the Stinger sounds really good.
Yeah,
Perseus, Paladin, Clip. They all sound good. I don't have a favourite.
I like the ship. Like it's just so rattly, and like it feels reactive to the way you ride the ship, fly the ship. It just feels everything is about to fall apart, and that's how it exactly should sound like.
Thank you.
And what are you guys working on now?
Ships.
You're trying to catch us out. Some ships.
A particular origin ship that you were talking about.
I thought maybe I could trip 'em.
No.
Maybe
There are a lot we're working on.
Yeah, there
actually
is.
at the moment.
There is.
I mean, this is only 4 of the team. There's Ilya and Jack and Nathan as well.
Yeah.
So this is just 3 of the 6 people. So I mean, we're doing a significant amount of
Yeah.
ships.
On the ship audio team, it's I want to be careful. I think when we put the thread up, we said audio team, and when we named the stream, we said audio team. And I think when we made the thumbnail, we probably said audio team. It should realistically have been ship audio team. So maybe we see if size around if that maybe there's a chance of getting that updated. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, when you say just to clarify, like when you say there's only 6 people on the team, and whatever
Ship audio,
the
yeah,
ship,
yeah.
the ship audio,
Yeah.
ship audio team. So you're working on you're working on an unannounced origin. What are you working on? Not the name, just you give us the brand. What are you working on, Josh?
A Drake ship.
A Drake ship.
Oh.
All right, I know what that is.
Yeah.
It is, or like this.
Sizable. Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Jan?
See, how catches that.
Working on Aegis.
You're working on an Aegis.
Yeah, very fun.
Oh, right.
I'm having a lot of fun with this one, particularly this
Well,
one.
you know,
yeah.
it's a shark with a freaking laser beam on it.
Nice.
Cool. We got time for a couple more questions. Let's have a little fun before we get going. What was there was a fun one in here.
They're all fun.
God, you know this is going to come out. Simon, this is probably more for you.
Was it?
Horns.
Oh yes, horns.
Every single we're gonna do the greatest hits of
Phil would love
every
horns.
shot of
Phil's
every
not here.
audio show here. Horns. Give our ships horns. You know, we don't have enough keybinds in this game. I'm sure we can find a Control Alt Function 3 that would allow us to have horns. Come on, give us horns.
Okay, will we be hearing those horns in space? Because they're there already, perhaps.
What if it's like a ship-to-ship communication system that just
I think that's a great idea. I mean, we've got
horns?
plenty
Come
of
on. La
scope for that, of
cucaracha,
course.
la cucaracha. You know, like this ship horns. Ship horns.
I think it's yes. I want them. I can't promise them at the moment, but yeah, of course it'd be
Okay.
fantastic.
The other long time as a Tannoy system. You know, the ability. This is your captain speaking. You know, to be able to communicate to everybody in the ship. It's probably the oldest of ship-related.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and ATC stuff, so air traffic control things, and much more information coming from the dashboard. From actually when you're flying, I want there to be more kind of call-outs and sort of locational base ATCs. And I mean, people have asked about radio stations. I can't kind of validate that in the moment because that will be part of the ship experience. Yes, of course, we'll be having those.
So let's see. The Hall of Fame ones are the horn, the Tannoy system, being able to communicate with everybody in your ship, give an announcement. General quarters, red alert, yellow alert, whatever. You know, being able to set station on your ship. Anything?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Sure.
Of course.
Yeah. What's Dustin messaging me on? Dustin usually doesn't message me. Ah, yes. I can't talk about that. Finally, this is, you haven't been on for ages. This is your first show and stuff, and who knows when we're going to have you on again. It's been a while. What do you want people to know? What do you want people to understand about ship audio? That's our focus today. It's the ship audio team. We're talking about ship audio. When people walk away from this show and they're like, wow, I can't wait for Simon's hair to go in game.
What's left of it.
What do you want them to walk away with?
Shut your eyes, and then when you hear a sound of a ship, you know which ship that is. You know which manufacturer it is. You know the voice that's used in that ship, that's from that ship and that manufacturer. So that's the dream scenario that we get. What's called an earworm is something you memorize and you know is the sound of. I can make many references from other films and games, but fundamentally that would be the dream scenario. You close your eyes, you know that ship's behind you. And indeed, we have to do that with 360-degree audio. You need to hear it first before you see it. So that's the dream scenario. and as you know, that's a whole topic in itself. How we're going to be bringing bespoke sound to each manufacturer. How we're going to play with sound in order to how do we achieve the sound of luxury leather compared with the sound of a plastic tractor seat. Do you know what I mean? How do we do that sonically? I mean, there's absolutely no time to talk about that, but we do want to kind of grade the sonic experience by the price of the ship and the quality of the ship, the weight of the ship, and the function of the ship. But the most dreamlike thing for me, shut your eyes and you know what you're listening to.
That includes ships that you're in and ships that are flying past you.
Yes, yeah.
I want people to know that we are listening. Like, there's a lot of suggestions that people come out with, like ship horns, and we have talked about it. And actually a better example would be ship flybys. We actually pushed the priority right up for that because we really wanted that, and I know that the community really wanted that too.
And
we are listening. Like, we're here. Yeah, we're here to improve the experience for you on audio. Not just, like we want these things too. Yeah. Sometimes it does just take time. Like, and we are blocked by other things. Like, we do need code support for a lot of stuff. But we are that. We discuss a lot of the things that we're asked today internally, and we are changing priorities for things like the flybys, for instance. It just takes some time.
Anybody want to add anything?
Yeah, I would say, again, the fact that this is a live service game and our work constantly comes out and we get to see the players' reaction. It's a pretty nice feeling. It's like very validating, and seeing the positive feedback kind of gives us more motivation. And when we see things like, I really like the engine on sound, or when you land the ship, it kind of gives us that extra motivation to keep the standard at least at that level, or push it even beyond, so people experience those nice moments time and time again. Yeah.
You compare the ship audio experience to where it was a year ago to what it is now. We want to do that again the next year and again, so we're just constantly pushing for quality.
Jans 89 in the chat says, ship audio is in Paula Shirley for Squadron 42. How can they be playing this? The simple answer to that is single player versus multiplayer, my friend. It's a whole different bag of hammers when you have to include networking, and in a single player game you control where the camera is at all times and where everything else is. Things don't have to be nearly as systemic in a single player game as they do in a multiplayer game. So it's a wildly different beast, and we struggle with every team, not just audio team. Every discipline in the company struggles with, oh, we can have this solution here, but it doesn't quite work here, and it's like that. So don't let anything that's said today about the Star Citizen ship audio team and whatnot, whole wildly different beast. All right. That's it for the show, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Thank you for having us.
I've always had a soft spot for. I always have a soft spot for it. So anytime we can get you on here, I do still want to do that longer form show at some point. I just got to find 5 minutes in anybody's schedules in order to do it. What's going on right now? Like in the game, Lunar New Year is still going on. There's an Origin promotion happening at the moment. There was something I was supposed to promote here.
New release?
I've lost it. I'm doing bad marketing right now. There's something I'm supposed to promote here and I've lost it. Oh well. I'm sure I'll hear about it. Anybody want to mention? Anybody want to ping me right now? Who's watching? Like, Jared, you're supposed to say this. Nope. All right, so that's it. Simon, Tristan, Jan, Joshua, thank you so much for taking the time to be here on the show with us. Come back next week. We have the one, the only Sean Tracy. We're going one-on-one with Sean. The question thread will go up on Spectrum tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. Always a fun one when we have the Canadian Destroyer in. Thank you, guys. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.